Have you ever thought about just how genuinely complex the human hand is? I was thinking about that recently, just like looking at my hands. I know that's kind of, I don't know if that's weird or not, but like, just thinking about it, right? The amount of joints and muscles and bone and blood vessels and various other things that just make up how this like very interesting thing that sets us apart from basically every other animal in the animal kingdom is wild and just something to think about. Very interesting stuff, and we got most people have 10 of these little phalanges here. So just something I was thinking about recently. Anyways, hello everybody, this is That Manga Dude, and welcome to a good old-fashioned reading log. Today we are talking about the wonderful month of May 2025 and all of the manga that I read in that month. So yeah, I actually managed to read a total of exactly 40 volumes, which is pretty good. I read a lot of big volumes, a lot of meaty, big, chunky volumes, but man, it was a lot of great stuff, and I'm really excited to get into it. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so the first manga that I read in the month of May 2025 is going to be Sakamoto Days, Volume 17 from Yuto Suzuki. Yep, yes sirree, it actually was the first volume, and man, it was so good, as to be expected from Sakamoto Days. I genuinely love this series. I've talked about it at length on this channel. It was one of the first series that I ever did an FVI on, and yeah, I think it's a really great series. It's really fun, it's very stupid, it's very exciting, characters are great, action's wonderful, and it's just a fun one to read every single time I pick up another volume. And this volume focuses on the museum arc, or whatever you want to call it, so really exciting stuff, and I'm excited to continue reading and getting the next volume. Alright, up next, I decided to read the first volume of Teppu from Moare Ota. This is a series that my wife actually has read previously, and when it got announced, she was like, oh wow, that's crazy. So this is one of the volumes from the Kodansha Book Club, and I was kind of holding off on reading it for a bit, but I decided to read it at the beginning of the month, and yeah, I thought it was pretty interesting. Basically, it follows a story about this like really strong girl who's never really been super interested because she thinks she's like the best of the best, but after she kind of gets her butt handed to her, she decides that she might want to start like mixed martial arts, and yeah, it's kind of about her story like growing and things like that. So it's a pretty interesting like idea and like concept. It's going to be a sports manga at the end of the day, so I'm excited for it. But yeah, overall, I think the art's pretty decent. It's not amazing. It's not gonna completely blow you away, but there are some fun little sections here and there. And just overall, I thought it was a pretty decent first volume, and interested to continue reading this one as well. Alright, up next, decided to read the 6th volume of Acidora from Naoki Urasawa. This is such a fantastic series, and I really, really love it. I've been on pause on it for a bit because I know that volumes come out really slowly here in English, and I believe we're almost caught up to the Japanese release. Not surprising because Naoki Urasawa does not release chapters of the series that often. So very excited to continue reading this one. This is a lot of fun. I love our main character, Asa. She's great. And she's just a very likable, fun character. I love the side characters as well, especially her friends who have now kind of discovered what they want to do with their lives, as well as like the sprinter or the runner. I think he's really great as well. So overall, another very, very good volume of another fantastic series. Alright, up next, decided to read the 2nd volume of My Dress Up Darling from Shinichi Fukuda. Yes, I have been very much enjoying this series. I really liked the first volume, and the 2nd volume is no different. I really enjoyed this volume as well. She gets to go to her first like cosplay event, which is really great, and I just like I like their dynamic a lot. I think Marin is very hilarious and very like rambunctious and very just out there and excited and things like that, while our boy is a little bit more quiet, a little bit more like hush hush. His name is Wakana Gojo. I just remembered off the top of my head. That's a miracle. But yeah, I actually do. I think the series is actually really great, and I liked this 2nd volume as well. Alright, up next, Peak Fiction, Medalist Volume 8 from Suru Maikata. Man, I love this series so much, and this is like a must read for me as soon as I pick up a volume. And yeah, it just continues to be absolutely awesome. We're in like the big tournament arc, I guess you could say. This is like the Tokyo they call it the prelims or something like that. But basically, it's going to be the first time where our main character is going to play against her main rival, or like be able to compete against her main rival. It's going to be exciting. This volume ends on a bang, and I'm really excited for the next volume. I am like itching to check it out. Alright, up next, I decided to read the volume Confession from Nobuyuki Fukumoto and Kaiji Kawaguchi. I recently talked about this in a video. This is the series that my wife chose for me to read for like this video series, or this video that I did in the past month, and it actually is really, really good. I actually thought it was fantastic. It follows a story about these two climbers who are kind of stuck in a blizzard. One of them is like basically dying out and kind of confesses that he murdered someone. So now, as they find this cabin and like they think he's gonna pass away, but he ends up not. Now they must live with the fact that he knows, like that one of the guys knows his new secret and what's gonna happen. What's the intensity? It's a crazy thriller. It's very intense from start to finish, and it's just a really good volume with a massive plot twist at the end, and just really enjoyed it. I thought it was a great volume, so it's got a lot of great stuff going for it, a lot of great action, some fantastic art, and yeah, I'm just excited to check out more stuff from these two creators, Nobuyuki Fukumoto and Kaiji Kawaguchi. Alright, up next, I decided to read the first volume of Idol X Idol Story from Shotaro Tokuno. Follows a story about this girl here who used to be part of an underground idol group who never really got off the ground, so she decides to quit. But now that like there's this new kind of like competition that's going on that will form like this really, really powerful, like really, really great idol group, she decides to get back into it after she meets like one of her biggest fans from her time as an idol. So it's a pretty interesting plot. It's very similar to Hikaru Into the Light. Biggest difference is that this is the main character is an adult and has already been an idol versus with Hikaru where she is wanting to be an idol. So yeah, it's an interesting premise. I like the art a lot. I think it's going to be a really fun one. I'm excited to continue reading it, and I'm very hopeful that it's going to actually be pretty solid. So excited to continue reading this one as well. Alright, up next, excited to read the third volume of Destroy All Humans, They Can't Be Regenerated from Katsuda Issei and Takuma Yokota. This is a series that I've been really, really enjoying, and it's not necessarily for everyone per se, because like I think it's one of those series that you really have to have grown up with trading cards or like that kind of stuff and being within that vicinity. Not necessarily with Magic, it could be with anything, because I didn't play Magic as a kid. I only played Yu-Gi-Oh! For the most part. So, but having that kind of nostalgia of playing with your friends, you know, being excited for new pack releases and going to different things like that, and then like just kind of like that, it's just like that era, the late 90s going into the early 2000s, definitely has that vibe, and it makes me feel extremely nostalgic, and I really, really enjoy it. If you're a fan of Magic, you'll probably will like this, and if you are an old school fan of any kind of like TCG, I think you will really enjoy this series as well, and this is another very good volume of this series. Alright, up next, I decided to read the 2-volume series, Quazer of Stigmatada, Holy Wars Ignite, from Kanetsu Sato and Hiroyuki Yoshino. And yeah, the series is fine. I mean, I picked up these 2 volumes because they were cheap, and one of my good friends, who I've mentioned before, has mentioned this series previously, not necessarily saying exactly what the series is about. And yeah, it's a weird one. Basically, it follows a story about like these special like people who are kind of like based around elements and stuff like that, and it's all about this like crazy holy war that's going on, and they're kind of like fighting to defeat each other. It's a strange premise. It has a lot of fan service, which if you've been watching my channel for a while, I'm not the biggest fan of. And this one, it just has like a little bit too much personally. And also the series never finished in English because it was Tokyo Pop. And I believe that this series came out right around the time where Tokyo Pop went out of business. So yeah, we never get a true conclusion, but there are some pretty solid action scenes here and there, and like some cool character designs as well. But yeah, there's just a lot of weird fan service that I'm just not a big fan of. But you know, it is what it is. Alright, up next, decided to read Osamu Tezuka's Mysterious Underground Men. Yes, this is a really cool hardcover, and it looks super awesome. Basically, it's printed in the way that it was originally printed all the way back in, like, I believe it's like the 40s or 50s. It's super awesome. This is a really, really awesome release, and yeah, it just basically, it follows a very simple story about this kid who's kind of like a scientific genius, and decides to build a drill to go to, like, the middle of the earth until they accidentally unearth these, like alien people who are now trying to basically kill everybody on Earth. So it's a very straightforward, very simple premise. It's a lot of fun. It's aged about as well as you would expect for a series that came out in the 40s and 50s. You know, it's not going to be completely mind-blowing or like super exciting, but there's a lot of great stuff in here. And I really like I said, the release looks really good, and it comes with a really cool essay at the back as well. So overall, I really enjoyed this. I thought it was a lot of fun. I'm a big fan of reading Osamu Tezuka's work, just to kind of see like where we get a lot of like the current manga tropes and things like that, and such an old school format as well. So really, really great. I very much enjoyed this. Alright, up next, decided to read Lala, the Memory Collector from Sui Kono. This is a pretty fun series. It follows a story about this girl here on the front, who's part of basically like these, this like special kind of like Grim Reapers in a way, but basically it's her job to kind of like collect people's memories so that they're never forgotten, and like there are various other groups that do different things for these people, so it's a pretty interesting premise. I did actually like this first volume quite a bit, although I will say there are some parts where I was kind of like, I mean, I'm just like not the biggest fan of certain characterizations and things like that, and it definitely feels very fast-paced, surprisingly, but there is some really beautiful art. I think the backgrounds look really great. I like a lot of the character designs, and yeah, I'm interested to see if this is going to be another volume of this, because it's not marked as a volume 1, but it definitely ends on a massive cliffhanger, so I'm kind of confused if this will be only one volume or if it will continue on, but hopefully there is a second volume. Alright, and the last for this part of the stack, I read volume 1 of Narumi Shigematsu's Blade Girl, and this was awesome. This was really great. Basically, it follows a story about this girl here, who is really struggling with her physical therapy after losing her leg, and it's kind of like her learning and like being introduced to this like new world of like the blade, the Paralympics, as well as like that kind of like running with those like special prosthetic legs, and it's kind of about her learning about that and kind of pushing herself, because she's been really dejected. She feels like she can never live a normal life anymore until she finally like gives it a shot once, and now she's kind of like brought back the spring in her step. And it's I don't know, it's really nice. I really like her character. I think it feels very realistic, and you totally understand her plight and why she's struggling so much, and you just want to root for her. She's a great character, and I'm excited to continue reading this series as soon as we get another volume from the Kodansha Book Club. Okay, coming into our next stack, we have ourselves Oh My Goddess, Volume 2 from Kozuke Fujishima. And yeah, this has just been a really fun series. This introduces the sister of the main girl here. Her name is Erd, which is a hilariously weird name. But I do enjoy this series. This series is a lot of fun. It's very straightforward and kind of ridiculous. It has some really great color pages as well. And yeah, I really enjoyed this second volume, and I will continue to read it. Alright, up next, decided to read Kindergarten Wars Volume 1 from Yo Uchiba. I managed to get this volume for free from Yen Press, so thank you very much for the review copy. And actually, it's really great. I really enjoyed this. Very fun. Follows the story about this girl here on the front, Rita, who is a former assassin and must now defend a kindergarten who is full of high-profile agents in order for her to be released from prison. So, ridiculous premise. I talked about it in the FVI for May of 2025, and I really did enjoy this. It was a lot of fun, and I'm excited to continue reading this one. Alright, up next, decided to read the second and final volume of The Concierge at Hokkio department store from Tsuchika Nishimura. It's a really nice series, and this volume adds like such a layer of mystery and kind of like, whoa, existential crisis for me, but very interesting series. Follows a story about like this like kind of department store that has all these like extinct or like endangered animals that are currently like looking for things, and the ladies and like the various people there are all concierge and there to help them try to find what they're looking for. So this volume adds, like I said, at the end is like a massive plot twist, and I was like, what? And it kind of makes you rethink everything that you've read up to this point, and it makes it, I don't know, it makes it so much more deep and complex, because, you know, overall it's a very nice, it's a very light read, but I think that plot twist towards the end totally adds an extra layer of like, what is actually going on here? I'm not going to try to spoil it too much, but yeah, if you've ever read this, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But I did really, really enjoy this. I think it's totally worth it. It's got a really great art style, and it's only 2 volumes, so I think it's 100% worth worth checking out. Alright, up next, this was another review copy that I received. I read Volume 1 of Phantom Invasion from Kumosuke Yamada. Yeah, this was okay. Not necessarily my cup of tea. I do think that the premise is pretty interesting. It follows a story about this guy who wakes up in this world, kind of like trying to figure out what is going on since he doesn't have any memories. But after he frees this person here on the front, he comes to find out that he's like in a world full of monsters, and he's like one of the very few, if only human. And then he kind of starts to regain his memories, and he's there to discover, to try to stop these monsters called phantoms from invading their world. So he has to try to eradicate all of them. So it's a pretty weird premise, and pretty interesting as well, but it's just like, it relies so heavily on like this fan service for kind of like no reason. I'm just not a big fan of it. And once again, it's got that that male power complex, which I'm never a big fan of ever, any kind of fiction, because basically his ability is like, he has the ability to charm women, because of course he does. So I'm not a big fan of that. I think it would have been really cool if he like just didn't have an ability and he had to kind of like sneak in and try to figure out how he can like kind of worm his way up in order to like kind of complete his mission. But yeah, I relies heavily on like this like sexual aspect, and I'm just not a big fan of it. So overall, it's okay. I think people will probably enjoy this for some reason, or for like to some extent, but for me personally, it's just not really for me. Okay, up next, I had to read the third volume of Eden of Witches from Yumeji, and ooh, this adds a whole nother layer of fantastic awesomeness. I love this series. It's been really, really great to read it. Fantastic art, really great story, and just like, it's a lot creepier than you would expect, and I kind of love it for that. It has definitely some horror elements, but yeah, really enjoyed this volume, and I cannot wait to pick up the next one. Alright, up next, decided to read the first volume of Tune In to the Midnight Heart, Finding the Girl Behind the Voice, Volume 1 from Masakuni Igarashi. Yeah, I talked about this a little bit in my pickups video, but basically it follows a story about a boy who used to listen to this broadcast basically at night, and it was like it was this girl that he like always was like, oh wow, I think I've fallen in love with her, but one day she decides to abruptly just ends her streams, and she never does it again. So now he's like kind of tracked her down to this originally an all-girls school that has recently become co-ed, so he basically gets himself into the school to try to find this girl, and once he finds out that there's a broadcasting club, he goes there and notices that there are 4 girls, and he's not sure exactly which one is the girl of his time listening to that music, or listening to that broadcast. So now he's going to try and figure out who it is, and he's going to try to help them follow their dreams, because they're all trying to do different things. So it's a pretty interesting premise. It's ridiculous. The main character is kind of annoying as hell, but like he is also really, really funny. Great character designs, is pretty silly at points, and yeah, I'm excited to continue reading this one as soon as possible. Alright, up next, I did this one for the FBI. This is Volume 1 of Cosmos from Ryuhei Tamura, and I talked about it in the FBI, but for my TLDR, it's pretty good. I think it's got some pretty solid art. I think the premise is pretty interesting. It's basically like life insurance for aliens. That is like the short of it, but it is a lot of fun. There's some great action. I think there's some really existential and some really great little like tender moments between characters, especially within the first volume, which is good to see. And yeah, I'm excited to check it out, and I'll continue reading it and see how good it continues to get. Alright, up next, this is a volume I got for free from Yen Press. This is Volume 1 of The Skeleton Enchanted by the Cursed Blade, the greatest demon lord who conquers a dungeon and commands an invincible army, from Nobuhisa Suruoka and Nozomi Genyoku. Yeah, this one's pretty okay. Another one I'm like not the biggest fan of, but basically it follows a story about this skeleton here, who one day is like finds a cursed blade, as the name suggests, and this cursed blade is super powerful, so now he like basically becomes way stronger than he's supposed to be for a skeleton. And so he slowly but surely is defeating all these big monsters, and it's recruiting him to his team. It's a pretty kind of like simple, straightforward premise. Once again, heavily relies on fan service, which is just kind of just a massive whatever for me. So overall, I did like this one a little bit more than Phantom Invasion. It is very entertaining and it's kind of funny at points. But yeah, overall, I just don't know if I'm going to continue reading it personally, but I think you can find some fun stuff to see and fun stuff to read in this series. Alright, up next, the Big Chungus, They Were 11 from Moto Hagio. I read this for the FBI, and I absolutely loved it. It's really, really great. Fantastic art, really great story, just overall, some fantastic characters. Even though there's a lot of characters, they all each feel individual and different. And I think you'll have a really great time. If you like sci-fi stuff, if you like political thrillers, you're going to get all of it in this volume. This does feature 2 different stories, technically, because one of them is the first They Were 11, and then the sequel series, which appears in the second half of the book. It's really, really well done. Denpa did an absolutely fantastic job with bringing this to English, and I'm super happy to have it, and it's just really, really good. You should definitely check it out. Alright, next I decided to read the first volume of A Witch's Life in Mongol from Tomato Soup, and I read this during the FVI, and I, once again, absolutely loved it. This was completely up my alley. Historical fantasy, check. Unique art style, check. Great characters, check. And this was just so good. I really, really enjoyed it. I love our main character. She is really, really awesome and amazing. I love the backgrounds. I love the characters. It's just like super good. It's also way darker than you would expect. Don't let the art style fool you. This is a very much a like older teen to adult series. I think that's what I kind of love about the art style itself, is that it lends well to both like this kind of like younger art style, but shows a lot of discipline as well. That is definitely made for adults in general. So I really, really like this. I thought it was really, really great, and I'm so happy and so excited to continue reading this one as soon as possible. Alright, up next, decided to read the 5th volume of Yasumi from Keiko Shinzo, another series that I really, really enjoy, and I really love the moments between Hiroto and Hideki in this volume. I'm not like the biggest fan of Hideki's character personally. I think he's just kind of like a weird, smug guy, but I think we get to see some vulnerability in this volume, which I really appreciate, and I really like how his character grows within this volume. So overall, this was another fantastic volume of another really great series that I really like. Alright, up next, Smile Sweet Sister Sadistic. This is Blendess, Volume 2 from Miyuki Nakayama, and there's not much to say about it. It is just a really goofy, strange 4-coma. You'll get some laughs, you'll get some cringe, and you'll get, some slightly tender moments here and there. But, yeah, overall, it's just a series that I'm like, it's like a guilty pleasure for me. Like, I don't necessarily think that the series is that great, but I do think it's very funny, and I did watch the anime, and I enjoyed it, so, happy to continue reading this series. And last but not least from this stack, this is another volume that was provided to me for free from Yen Press, so thank you very much. This is Stardust Family, the complete omnibus from Aki Horiyama, and to be honest, I actually really liked this. I thought it was really interesting, very thought-provoking, poignant as well. Basically, it follows a story about this world, this alternate universe, basically, where Japan has like passed these laws, where you need to basically get a license in order to have children. Or you can like face legal repercussions and various other things. So the way that these parents are chosen is that they have to go through these rigorous tests, and then the final test, a child is sent over to basically be their surrogate child for a couple weeks, and then that child gets to decide whether the parents are allowed to have children or not. So very interesting premise. I think it tackles a lot of complex themes that have been, I think, a very common talking point just across the board, like who is deserving to be parents, like is it really kind of like luck of the draw, is it fair to the kids if parents are evil or are good, or is like, are kids like, can kids be inherently evil? And it tackles like all these really interesting like pieces of society, I guess, and it's just really, really well done, and I really enjoyed how the series ends as well. It's a really chunky volume, but it is definitely worth it. It is really sad, I will say, so there's going to be a lot of like really triggering moments for some people, so definitely read the trigger warnings before you read this volume, but I really liked it. I thought it was great, and I'm excited to check out more stuff from Aki Horiyama. Alright, next stack. Takahashi from the Bike Shop, Volume 2, Arare Matsumushi. Yes, happy to have continue this series. Definitely introduces some intrigue with the relationship that they're currently building, especially after the first volume, and a pretty massive thing happens at the towards the middle of this volume, and it's a really emotional moment, and I think it's like really nice to see these characters become vulnerable. I'm really liking this series. It's very lighthearted, but also I think tackles some pretty like interesting topics and themes, like especially like, you know, standing up for yourself at work, and kind of like, looks can be deceiving, and I think people judge people for various things, and maybe they shouldn't. And yeah, I really liked this second volume. I thought it was really nice. Alright, up next, decided to read Juju Roll Nab, volume 26 from Gege Akatami. This features the ending of the fight between Sukuna and Gojo. And if you know, then you know, and if you don't, well, I guess you gotta keep reading. Very close to finishing this series, and it is kind of ending personally for me on a whimper. I'm like not necessarily that interested anymore. I think it really hit its peak during the Shibuya incident, and it's kind of been slightly, slowly but surely going downhill from there, which is unfortunate. I think it had a good start, but I think this was a pretty nice ending to a pretty big fight, so I do appreciate that, and yeah, I'm interested to continue reading this one as well. Alright, now time for the big thing that I read. I read the first 3 omnibuses / volumes of Vinland Saga from Makoto Yukimura. Like I said, this is volumes 1 through 3 of the original English print, because I know there's the new, like, updated gigantic versions, but I already don't like big volumes, so I decided to go with these instead, especially because I got them for a really great price. And yeah, this series is awesome. It is fantastic. It's super cool. It's extremely well done. I love the characters. I love the art. The action scenes are fantastic. The emotional moments are beautiful and will make you very emotional, both in anger and sadness and happiness and joy. There's just a lot of really great stuff done here, and Makoto Yukimura is killing it. I really, really love this series. Thorfinn is a great main character. I'm really liking how his character is kind of learning and understanding everything about what is going on, and kind of how his character is growing as we move it into the next volume, how all this is affecting his psyche, his mental, and yeah, it's really interesting. I really like this series. It's fantastic. I can see why people talk about it all the time, and it's well deserving of all the love that it gets. Alright, up next, for a lighter note, I decided to read the 6th volume of Sumu Ishita's Like a Butterfly, and yep, this is a nice little cozy series that we get some more stuff with Suiden and the guy, which I always forget his name is Kawasumi. They are officially in a relationship now, I guess, spoilers, which, I mean, if you look at the covers, it's like very obvious that this is going to be a romance series, and yeah, that's cute. I mean, it's nothing to write home about, but I think there are some things to enjoy. The art's really good as usual, as you would expect from Sumu Ishita. The characters are cute, and you can kind of see that they're growing slowly but surely, so excited to continue reading this one at some point soon. Alright, up next, decided to read the one-shot collection Love Song, 4 Tales by shoujo artist Keiko Nishi. This is a very old Viz Media release, and it is a very interesting release as well. It's got a wide mix of different stories in it. My favorite story happens to be like the guy who's kind of like the magician / psychic, and yeah, the first story is not my favorite. It's just not my kind of thing, but it is a nice mix of stories, and it's very interesting to read a very old school like 80s, 90s shoujo manga. So cool to have, and I'm happy to have read it. Alright, up next, Smoking Behind the Supermarket with You, Volume 3 from Janushi. Another great volume of another fantastic series. I love this one quite a bit. Follows the story about these two here who smoke behind the supermarket together. One of them works at the supermarket, and the other one is just a very tired, very bleh businessman who just really enjoys the company of this girl, or this person, as well as the worker, who is, lo and behold, the same person, but he doesn't know because he's, yeah, he's dense. It's cute, it's fun, it's nice, and I like the conversations that they have. It's definitely a very interesting series. It's not a series I could technically recommend to everyone, but it is a lot of fun if you like these kinds of slow burn romances / slice of life series. Alright, up next, BL Metamorphosis Volume 3 from Kaori Suratani. Yeah, I was on the back burner on this series for a while, but I do really, really like this series. I think it's fantastic. Follow the story about these two women here. One's like in college, I believe, and the other one is this older woman. And they kind of bond over BL, which is really funny. And yeah, it's just about them, like, about her, like, kind of finding her new hobby as she's kind of been living alone since her husband passed away. And this girl who's kind of like learning about herself and kind of wanting to push herself, because it's like you can start at any age to try something new. So really enjoyed this volume, and I'm excited to continue reading this one as well. Alright, up next, The Cutest Pudutest, The Girl with the Sanpaku Eyes, Volume 4 from Shinsuke Sarato. This series is so adorable. I love our main characters. They're so silly. They're so funny. She's great. I don't know. You just want to root for them and totally understand, like, where these characters are coming from. Kind of getting this, like, almost imposter syndrome with each other, which I think is hilarious, and I just really like their dynamic, and they're really great characters. So overall, another fantastic volume for another really great series. Alright, for the Bachi Bros, Volume 3, Kagurabachi from Takeru Hokazono. And okay, I won't lie, I've given a lot of crap to Kagurabachi because I think the series is extremely overhyped. I will say I thought Volume 3 was the best in the series up to date. I do still have my qualms with some of the paneling, some of the characters go off model, but I do really like the action. I think there's some really great panels. I won't say really great paneling. Some really great panels, some very strong backgrounds, and some really great character designs across the board that I'm excited now to continue reading the series. I wasn't understanding it at first, but I do see the hype coming into Volume 3, and yeah, I will continue to read this series. Alright, up next, Furyen, Volume 12 from Kanehito Yamada and Tsukasa Abe. Series that doesn't need an introduction. I think everybody and their mothers knows what the Furyen is at this point. Yeah, Volume 12 is very interesting. I'm not going to spoil it, but it is very unexpected about what is going on. But I am really enjoying this series and especially this volume because we get a little bit more context about something that happened long ago in a distant land. So really happy to have another volume, and I'm excited to pick up the 13th volume as soon as possible because it's already released. Alright, up next, Mujina Into the Deep, Volume 2 from Inio Sano. This is a series that I gave, once again, another series that I gave a lot of crap on that I wasn't the biggest fan of. I will say the second volume is much better. I do like the character growth that we're getting with the main characters. I still really don't like her at all. I think she's just really annoying, and I don't really feel like she needs to be in here. I don't know. I feel like she's just there to be there kind of thing. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how a character goes, but I just really don't like how her character is written personally. But yeah, this is a series that follows a story about like this, once again, another kind of like alternate universe thing, where in Japan, you can give up your rights as a human in order to become a Mujina, and when you do that, you're basically free to do whatever you want, but you're also basically non-human, so people can do whatever they want with you. You could get killed and no one would care, and you won't even get like any kind of funeral or anything. So it's a mixed bag. So these Mujina now are basically getting set up to be hitmen and bodyguards and various other things. So pretty interesting premise across the board. It is not necessarily the most thought-provoking out of all of Inio Sano's work, but it is very interesting to see him do a full action series, and yeah, this was a pretty solid second volume. Alright, up next, and finally, last but not least, Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney, Official Casebook Volume 1, The Phoenix Wright Files. This is based on the hit video game from Capcom. If you don't know, I am a huge Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney fan. I love this series. I've played basically every game except for the Sherlock Holmes games and the second Miles Edgeworth Investigations. I do really like this series. The Justice for All is my favorite game in the series. But I'm also a huge fan of Trials and Tribulations, as well as Spirit of Justice, which I think is the newest, the technical newest one. Yeah, I really like this series, and this was really interesting. Basically, this is like a massive collection of like doujin stories, doujin short stories about the Ace Attorney franchise done by like a bajillion different artists. So the stories are all mixed bag. Some of them are great, some of them are not. But I did really enjoy it. I think it's really fun just to see these characters, different interpretations from different artists, as well as different stories as well. So overall, I really enjoyed this, and hopefully I can find Volume 2 so I can have both of them. But that is going to be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. What have you been reading this past month? Let me know in the comments below. Did you read any of the things that I read? Let me know in the comments below. Not there, there. And you know what to do. You can like, you can comment, you can subscribe. Those are all amazing things, and I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for all of your support this year. Once again, I hit 5,000 subscribers. That's so awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it so much, and you guys are all amazing and awesome. And yeah, that's gonna be it for this one, so I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye!